Hi everyone. So today we are going to study about that particular incident in the history of Europe which sort of unleashed the wave of democracy across the world and also weakened the very foundation of monarchy and feudal system. So I'm talking about the biggest political and social upheaval that claimed many lives in France. Yes, the French Revolution. So, proceeding with the video, let's first see the table of content that we have. Also, if you would want the content of this video, guys, then I'll make sure to provide the link in the description box below. You can download it from there if required. Now, let's proceed. So, under contents, we have the introduction or the background, you can say, followed by the causes, which we will deal under separate heads like the economic causes, political causes, cultural causes, social causes. So, what were the various causes which sort of initiated this revolution? Further, we'll also see the course of the revolution, followed by the impacts or effects or aftermath or repercussions, whatever you would want to call it. And then we will wrap up this video with the significance of the revolution. So yeah, I have already told you about the uh, content of the video. You can download it from the description bar below. So very foremost, we are going to study about little background of this revolution. So basically, French Revolution began in 1789 and it came to end in 1799. So this is the date which you can remember, of course. At around 17th century, the social hierarchy was very prevalent in Europe. Like people were ranked according to their class or whatever you want to call it. And basically, three class of people existed in society, which was clergy or the clergy, which dominated the first stage of people, followed by nobility, second state, and the common class comprising peasants, laborers, farmers, etc. So it was the third state. Now the point here is, why am I making you all understand the class division of Europe? I mean, what's the purpose basically? So the so yeah, this was the social hierarchy. I have just attached a little flowchart over here in order to make you guys understand. So the people belonging to the third state or the third category people, they had to endure a lot of suppression and subjugation. Precisely speaking, they were the only class of people who had to bear the brunt of social hierarchy, and high taxation were imposed on them. So this definitely would make the people very furious, and thus they retaliated, and thus we have to see the beginning of the historic French Revolution. Also, you can note one thing, that people by then had also started questioning the supremacy of aristocrats and clergymen based on the reasoning and logic, and the authority of church and theory of divine rights of king were also questioned. So basically we can say that enlightenment had begun. So, if you do not know, let me make it very clear that at that point of time in Europe, the people had basically, the church had very supreme authority, or the kings had very supreme authority. Everything was centered around this religious scenario. So, there was no reasoning, no logic behind anything. So, by then, certain philosophies came out in Europe, and people began getting aware about certain things, and they started questioning the authority of the church, and thus we can say that enlightenment had begun. Now we will see what had actually happened which led people to revolt against the authority. So we'll see the reasons or factors, or let's say causes, responsible for French Revolution. So we'll study under different heads. First we'll see the cultural causes, or you can also call it religious reasons, social causes, political causes, and economic causes. So first we have cultural causes. Now rationality and enlightenment made people question the already existing ideas, and they started giving primacy to reasoning over tradition. Now they had started doing away with all the you know uh, prevailing dogmas or the ideology. They started giving prime importance to reason, logics before tradition. They questioned the theory of divine rights of the king. Sorry, I have written the wrong spelling here. Please do not mind, that's the typing error, of course. Now we have social causes. See, I did mention in the previous slides also that France had an estate system. Basically people were ranked according to their prestige or the social position they enjoyed in the society. So they had the estate system wherein we saw different class of people ranked accordingly. So basically the third estate was kept very, at the low level in the hierarchy, and they also constituted the major chunk of population. But despite this, they had very little power and say in anything, and they also had very little wealth, and despite they had to pay very high amount of taxation. So this was an extreme torture which was inflicted upon the third estate people. And now the clergy and nobility, they did not have to pay any tax, whereas the commoners were subjected to high taxation. And there was very popular saying at that point of time, that nobles fight, clergy pray, and the people pay. So this was very evident of the situation prevalent at that point of time. And this line aptly describes what would have been the condition of France back then. Also, social mobility was restricted. Now, what does this mean? See, it simply means that at that point of time, people of the third estate could not even improve their social rank, even if they wanted. Let's say if they wanted to improve their condition and come at the top of the hierarchy, or let's say dominate the first or the second slots, but they were not only allowed to do that in the first place. So despite anything, they could not reach the top position in this social hierarchy, which undoubtedly was not fair, and hence the enmity, the hatred. So yeah, these were the social reasons which were responsible for the revolution. Now let's see the political factors which were responsible for this revolution. See, already France was in a very bad condition. Despite all of it, the French monarch assisted America in their war of independence. So this also sort of claimed the wealth and assets of France and made the people very angry and furious. French King Louis XVI and his wife Marie Antoinette indulged in luxury and extravagance, which greatly angered the common people. Now they had the tendency of building this great palaces, indulging in extravagant things, and they were basically leading a very luxurious life. So on one side, the common people of France was going through such a rough and tough phase, and here the king, rather than paying attention to the grievances and addressing the grievances of the people, they were indulged in their luxurious aspirations, you can say. Now people were also dissatisfied with the absolute monarchy in France. King did not pay attention to the well-being of the people and did not address the already mentioned. So basically there were some of the prominent political reasons which sort of let the French Revolution come to its beginning or the nascent stage. Now we shall quickly jump on to the economic reasons which propagated this revolution. So first point kind of overlaps with what we had studied in the political cause. See, France got involved in the American War of Independence, which claimed wealth and assets of France, thereby making people furious. So naturally this would drain the economy and the assets of France. King Louis XVI was involved in several others. Not only did he assist the America in their War of Independence, he also indulged in other wars, which was also claiming the wealth of France and claiming the treasury of France. The country was in debt coupled with inflation. So on the top of that, country was also going through inflation phase. And also the ministry, the various finance ministry or economic related ministry, whatever the recommendations they were giving, those recommendations were completely and utterly disapproved by the king. So these were the social, political, cultural, economic reasons which sort of propagated or led to one of the most significant events in the world history. Now after we have learned the causes of the revolution, let's quickly discuss the course of the revolution, like what actually had happened on that day. So see, now the commoners were extremely fed up with the policy and the laid back attitude of the king of France. So there was a strong demand by the commoners, people of third estate, to have their own government, and King Louis XVI was naturally opposed to it initially, but after the violent outbreak of people on 17th June, he finally accepted the views of the commoners and acknowledged the National Assembly on 27th June. Now after some time, there was rumor. Things were still dicey, and the rumor spread that King Louis XVI was planning an attack on the National Assembly, leading to anger among the people who attacked Bastille Fort. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's Bastille, or maybe that's the correct pronunciation. Do let me know in the comments down below, guys. So they attacked Bastille Fort on 14th July. Seeing this, many people also joined this revolution against the elite domination. So this whole phase of revolution was on the top, and people were really inspired this whole ideal of bringing equality and say in the political scenario of France. So 14 July is also celebrated as National Day of France. People refused to pay taxes, and thus, after all the chaos and turmoil, on finally 14th July 1789, Declaration of Rights, it should be off, I'm sorry for the mistake, Declaration of Rights of Man was adopted, and drafting of the Constitution was done by 1791, and finally in 1792 monarchy was completely abolished and France became a republic country. So this was the brief history how France became a republic. King Louis XVI and Queen Antoinette were sentenced to death. However, economic downfall, reign of terror, rise of Napoleon Bonaparte are altogether some detailed topics which definitely need a separate video altogether. Otherwise, this would be too long if I would have summarized all of it in this single video. Now, after having discussed the course and the causes of the revolution, let us now briefly see what were the impacts or repercussions or aftermath of the revolution. So first, very important thing which happened as a result of French Revolution was the abolition of monarchy, absolute monarchy, let's say. Clergymen and powerful feudal lords lost their privileges, and this gave rise to the aspirations of the middle class. So now clergymen and feudal lords were no more in the dominant position, and the aspirations and aims, ambitions of middle class could also thrive. It gave three most important concepts. Now these three concepts are very much important with regards to Indian polity also, which is equality, liberty and fraternity. French Revolution paved way for a brilliant talent like Napoleon Bonaparte to rise, who later brought on reforms for French people. So he was a great ruler, Napoleon Bonaparte. We all are very much aware of him. So France witnessed his rule as a result of French Revolution. In 1791, French Constitution also got enacted, which reduced the absolute and excessive power of kings. Already mentioned, women rights were recognized for the first time. Yes, French Revolution also, gave way for the women aspirations to thrive in France. So these were some of the profound impact the revolution had on France. Now, and how it heralded the socio-political economic changes in the history of France. After having discussed the major impact the revolution had on French people and history, let us now briefly discuss the significance of French Revolution. So the very first thing is the rise of new philosophy. See, people started valuing reasoning, rationality, logic over religion. Not only this, but the ideas even spread to other parts of Europe and later to the world. Women rights were given supreme importance, already mentioned. French Revolution gave three new words, liberty, equality and fraternity. Indians also drew inspiration from ideals of French Revolution. So this was the video, guys. On and all, we can say that French Revolution played a very pivotal role in shaping the French history. So that was it. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please like, share, subscribe. And also, if the link of the PDF is attached in the description bar below, please go and download it from there, since my videos are always written in the are there in the notes format. So yeah, it might be very helpful for you. Until then, be safe, do well, keep connected, and thank you.